Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today's our lecture topic is the identification of carbohydrates in an unknown sample. Your course is the biochemistry of carbohydrates and this is a lab activity. In this we have studied the how can we identify the carbohydrates present in the unknown sample. These are actually the confirmatory tests of carbohydrates. Whether the carbohydrates are present in your sample or not. These are the there are different types of confirmatory tests for the identification of carbohydrates. Now we have studied the first about what is the carbohydrates. You have a very better idea about the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are actually the polyhydroxylated compounds with potentially active carbonyl groups. These are called as the polyhydroxylated compounds in which the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen is present. Simply it is called as in which the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen is present. In some carbohydrates, but this is not confined to that. In some carbohydrates, the nitrogen and sulfur is also present. Carbohydrates are of different types. Carbohydrates classification, you have know the idea about the classification of the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are classified into monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharides, polysaccharides, and so on. So in your unknown sample, the carbohydrates may be present in the form of monosaccharides, may be present in the form of disaccharides, may be present in the form of polysaccharides, may be present in the form of oligosaccharides. So you have to be identified all of them separately and you can identify them with collectively. First test which is used for the identification of carbohydrates. Monosaccharides are those which is only the simple sugars. These are the simple sugars. You have better idea about the monosaccharides, which are the simple sugars. These are the simplest carbohydrates and they cannot be hydrolyzed to simpler units. If they are broken down further, the resulting compounds don't possess characteristics of carbohydrates. Monosaccharides are colorless and crystalline substances having the sweet taste. Monosaccharides are actually the colorless and crystalline substances having sweet taste. For example, glucose, fructose. They are soluble in water. For example, glucose and fructose are readily soluble in the water. So all the monosaccharides are readily soluble in water. Disaccharides are formed by the condensation of two monosaccharides molecules. The monosaccharides are connected by the glycosidic linkage. You have better idea about the glycosidic linkage in which the two molecules of monosaccharides or simple sugars are joined with each other in case of disaccharides. The most important disaccharides are maltose, sucrose and lactose. These are the different types of disaccharides which can be present in your sample. Maltose is of polymer of the disaccharide of glucose plus glucose. Sucrose is the disaccharide of glucose plus fructose, lactose is the disaccharide of glucose plus galactose. Then is the polysaccharides. They are formed by the condensation of a large sample of monosaccharide molecules. They have high molecular weights and are only sparingly soluble in cold water. They form a colloidal solution when heated with water. Even in the heated water, it is not completely solubilized. They are not sweet. They are generally divided into two groups, homopolysaccharides and heteropolysaccharides. In homopolysaccharides, which contain the same type of monosaccharidal units, for example, starch, glycogen, cellulose, dextrins, inulin, etc. Heteropolysaccharides, these are polysaccharides made up of different kinds of monosaccharidal units. Depending on the animal or plant origin, they have been further subdivided into two main groups. Animal origins, they are the mucopolysaccharides, heparin, hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate, blood groups, polysaccharides, and serum mucides. In plant origins, most common examples is mucilage group, vegetable gums, pectins, cellulose, hemicellulose, etc. So now we have gone through the first test of identification of carbohydrates is the Molish test. First test is the Molish test. The first test is the Molish test. This test carbohydrates, when this test is not specific for the monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharides or polysaccharides. It is the general confirmatory test for the presence of carbohydrates in your unknown sample. It is a general test for the presence of carbohydrates in your unknown sample. Rather than it is monosaccharide, rather than it is disaccharide, rather than it is polysaccharide, or rather than it is oligosaccharide. What is the principle of this test? Now starting from the principle. Principle of that test. Carbohydrates, when treated with the concentrated sulfuric acid, undergoes dehydration to form furfuryl or hydroxymethyl furfuryl derivatives, which on condensation with alpha naphthol form colored products, chromogens, which is in this case the violet ring. The principle: carbohydrates, when treated with concentrated sulfuric acid, undergoes dehydration to form furfuryl or hydroxymethyl furfuryl derivatives, which on condensation with alpha naphthol form colored products, chromogens. Colored products, the chromogens. Carbohydrates, when treated with concentrated ethyl sulfuric acid, undergoes dehydration to form furfuryl or hydroxymethyl furfuryl derivatives, which on condensation with alpha naphthol form colored products, which is violet ring in this case. After the principle, you have the idea about the reagent which is used, Molish reagent. Molish reagent. Molish reagent contains 5% solution of alpha naphthol in 95% of ethyl alcohol. 5% solution of alpha naphthol in 95% of ethyl alcohol. It means you have to take 5 ml of alpha naphthol and dissolve in 95 ml of ethyl alcohol, which gives you the reagent of Molish reagent. What is the procedure for this test? You have two test tubes. One is the blank one, 2 ml distilled water, in it 2 ml of unknown sample given to you. Add 1 to 2 drops of Molish reagent in both test tubes. In both test tubes. Then mix and incline the test tube slightly. And then add 2 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid at the walls of test tube. At the wall of test tube. After the incline of mix for some time and incline to set this solution. Then after add 2 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid at the walls of the test tube slowly. In both the test tubes add 2 ml of sulfuric acid concentrated to a low test tube. Then wait for while and not shake the test tubes. After some time, a ring is appeared on the junction of the two liquids. A ring is appeared. Here is no ring appearance in blank. Here is the formation of a ring that is of violet color. When the carbohydrates are present in your unknown sample, then the color of the ring is violet. If the violet ring is formed at the junction of the two liquids, then you have to inference that the given solution is a carbohydrate. But you have to remember that this is a general test for all the carbohydrates. Molish test is given by sugars with at least 5 carbons only, because it involves furfuryl derivatives which are of 5 carbon compounds. And also the rapid pouring. What are the precautions? The rapid pouring of the sulfuric acid down the test tube leads to water acid interactions, which produces heat and can cause charring of carbohydrates, resulting in the formation of black ring. What are the precautions? Points to be remembered. Points to remember. It's a general test for all carbohydrates. If you pour sulfuric acid rapidly, then a black ring rather than violet ring is formed. Why it is? Because if you pour sulfuric acid rapidly down to the test tube, it leads to the water acid interaction, because the water is present in the sample. So the water acid interaction, because the water acid interaction which produces the heat and can cause the charring of the carbohydrates, resulting in the formation of black ring. Therefore, acid should be layered very slowly and carefully to minimize this interaction. This black ring is formed due to the water acid interactions. So you have to avoid these water acid interactions by pouring slowly the carbohydrates in your sample. Water acid interactions, which can be avoided by pouring the H2SO4, the sulfuric acid, the concentrated sulfuric acid very slowly to the test tubes and carefully to the test tube for the minimization of this interaction. Charring also occurs due to the precipitation of carbon as a result of dehydration of the carbohydrates. This occurs as a result of action of concentrated sulfuric acid on it. If the impurities present in your sample, then also the violet ring is not formed. These impurities, if it is of proteins, as you know, some proteins also contains the carbohydrates in their structure. So these proteins give the green ring. For example, albumin. If you have in your unknown sample the protein is present which is conjugated with the carbohydrates, because this is a general test for all the carbohydrates, so it maybe give the false result, which is not the positive result of the Molish test, because it gives you the green ring rather than violet ring. Many other impurities present in your sample can cause the disturbance of the ring formation, or maybe the ring is not formed in your sample and not any color of ring is formed in your sample. In case of oligo and polysaccharides, they are first hydrolyzed to monosaccharides by acid, which undergoes dehydration to form furfurin or its derivatives. So it may be sometimes it gives the green ring even in the absence of the alpha-naphthol. Polysaccharides also gives sometimes green ring rather than violet ring due to the presence of impurities in the polysaccharides, because polysaccharides must be hydrolyzed into monosaccharides for the giving the violet ring formation. So it takes time, and if the impurities are present in it, then it will not completely hydrolyzed. When these are not completely hydrolyzed, then it gives the negative test and it gives the green ring as compared to the violet ring, which is actually the confirmation of the Molish test. The carbohydrates are present in your sample. So in case of identification test, you must be very careful for the use of the different types of reagents. If you have not made a valid reagent, you not mixes the components of your reagent accurately, you may can get your false test. Or if you have poured the sulfuric acid not carefully or slowly to your test tube, it may also lead to the false test of your sample, and you have get the idea about that in your sample the carbohydrates may be not present, but these are actually the false tests. This is the qualitative test in which we have to measure the quality of the compound, because it is a general test for the presence of checking of the presence of the carbohydrates in the samples. So you have the idea about the presence of required substance in the given sample, but you not have give the amount of determine the concentration of the substance or carbohydrate present in your sample in qualitative test, because it is a qualitative test. It is not the type of the quantitative test in which you have to measure the amount of carbohydrates present in your sample. It only gives the idea about the presence of your compound, presence of the carbohydrates in your sample. Alpha naphthol, if you not have used the alpha naphthol in your sample, then also you have get the negative test, rather than you have put on the sulfuric acid according to your if the quantity of the alpha naphthol is reduced in your polish reagent, then you can also have the negative test for the carbohydrates, and you can give the idea about that in your sample the carbohydrates are not present, but actually these are present. So you have to must be very careful about that. The sample, unknown sample contains the carbohydrates, but you do not have the idea either it is the monosaccharide, either it is polysaccharide, either it is disaccharide, or either it is the oligosaccharide or the polysaccharide. You should have to give the you have to check the presence of the compound in your sample, and if the ring is formed of violet color, then you have confirmed. But if you have if the ring is of black color, you have to repeat this test again by using the method. And if you have get the green ring, then you have must knows about that the some impurity or some protein or some type of impurity is present, or your polysaccharides are not completely hydrolyzed. So you have to go through the sample which you have given to you, and by knowing about the sample which are given to you, either it is of maltose, it is of sucrose, it is of a conjugated protein glucose sample, by knowing these all things you have the idea about your ring formation. If it is a green ring and you give one by the sample of the protein glycated compound, so you would have the you can give the idea about that the ring is formed is of green color actually. So this is not the negative result. But if you have give the maltose, sucrose, lactose, or glucose, fructose, or galactose in your unknown sample, then the formed ring is must be of violet color. If it is not a violet color, then you have to repeat your test again and again when you have get the violet color ring in your sample. That's all about the Molish test, which is a very important test for the general identification of carbohydrates present in your sample. If you have any questions regarding this lecture about the Molish test, which is a identification or the qualitative test for the presence of carbohydrates in your sample, you can approach me on the WhatsApp group, or you can approach me on my email address, and you can put comments in the comment section. I will try my best to give you the answers for your all questions. It is a very easy test for the qualitative measurement of the carbohydrates. And I hope so you have get a better idea. And if you remember all the points related to the precautionary measures of this test, you can achieve the confirmation of the carbohydrates present in your unknown sample. Thank you. Thank you so very much, students, for this listening of this lecture. Thank you so very much. Allah Hafiz.